afternoon. Now we're still working on building my teams. Um, Automated league creation. Yeah, if I can spell. I've created this function with the help of AI, of course. I mean, it's like I'm designing the function, and the AI kind of tries to build it, and then I have to go back and edit it, and then I have to change and tweak and do other things to figure out why certain things aren't working. So, as is, it does occasionally work, but the problem is, I have I have a I have a salary range that they need to stay in a salary cap. So I've been tweaking um, kind of various aspects of that to try to make sure that when it builds, it has a high probability of succeeding in building the league up. So I noticed when it was at one point it only was getting 37 players, which I had 41, and I want to get that to 51, right? So I know I have enough players, but the problem is that I may not have enough players at any given position, and every not every position. It's kind of like some guys are considered a nose tackle, for example, and I could probably tweak this a little bit because I don't think there's that many guys that are nose tackles. Because the only reason you'd be a nose tackle is if you're running I think you have to be running a nickel defense or a 3-4 defense. I think that's the only time you have a nick. I'll say I don't know. I think a nickel actually might be 5 backs, DBs. But it's one of those. It's at least a 3-4. A 3-4 uses a nose tackle. That much I know. But not all teams run those, right? So some teams don't. So it's if you're running a 4-3 defense or some kind of goal line defense, you're typically got 4 or 6 men on the line, and in that scenario, you wouldn't have necessarily nose tackles. You may have guys that playing a position that's similar to nose tackle, but you wouldn't be playing a nose tackle. So I don't think every team even has nose tackles, but I don't know who does, who doesn't. So what I'm thinking is I need to make an adjustment. I need to have a better grasp of who in my wait what how to use this is I'm going to MongoDB salary review. Okay, where is this? Where did it created at? Oh, right in front of me. All right, let's see what this does. So we're going to go DTNT because I'm having troubles with DTNT. See if it finds anything. Okay, so there isn't anybody with a DTNT. Salary review by position, filter review. Matched 0 players. It's player.position. Filter on, and we are looking at the player pool, and overall totals, complexity, no results given for the filter. Let's see what it did. All right, so I'll add a new MongoDB file, behavior positions array, token regex, filter position uses the position filter, all ignores it, aggregate player pool by position and prints counts and salary range. Open the new playground, adjust the constants at the top, or any list you like. Filter on, pause to filter, or all to include every position. Pause. Okay, so we've got pause and position. I ran the query and I found no Nobody. I know they exist in the player pool. Actually, you know what? Let's go nose tackle. Let's go RDT. LDT. And there is no left and right version of that one, so let's just see if that does it. Nope. So I know some of these exist, so. Position. It seems pretty obvious. So we got salary. See what that did. Change it to a double. See that? Okay, so we got 35 defensive tackles, only 9 nose tackles. There are no RDTs or LDTs. That's good to know. They range 1 to 31 and 1 to 32. Better, beater. Can you break down salary by elite range and non range? Karama, what's up, man? So my automated league generation is running out of players. And it shouldn't. I mean, there are 45 players. I'm only trying to build 8 teams. But the problem is their salary is probably too high. Or at least that's the way it keeps coming out. So I'm trying to see if I can get it to... So if I get a better idea what these... what their salaries are, I'll have a better idea how much I should drop down. Okay, so we got elite. They only have 1 player in the elite range. That's weird, because I'm supposed to have 10. Well, no, because... Okay, so something's... How am I doing this? Is it defensive line? So they got 1... There's 1 elite defensive tackle, 1 elite nose tackle. So basically... This is 1 to 14. There's 34 players in the 1 to 14 range. I don't know how it's having trouble finding that player. There's only 8 here, but man, I don't see how it's having trouble finding that. That don't make sense. That's like, that doesn't make sense at all. All right, so let's throw in, gosh, I've got 44 players to work with. Only 2 of them are elite, so only 2 of them actually get drafted in the elite position. And that's only if they get drafted. I have it set up to only do 6 rounds if they can draft elites. So some guys might not, might not get drafted. 6 rounds, that's basically every team can get 6 elites, and it can become a problem. I mean, if some of these guys are all, man, really, that seems like a high. Let's see here. I kind of had this discussion with AI the other day. where's my menu? Okay, so we got air fryer. Can I search? Creative rating scales. Because this was a long time ago. Can I get rid of this one? Yeah, that's fine. What is this? Double casting? Famous examples. Oh. Yeah, I don't need to do that. Your NFL player stats source. Killing me, man, with your symbols. I don't know what those mean. You're driving me crazy, man. Share screen with Copilot. I don't want to share screen with Copilot. What I want to do is do a search. How come I can't search my conversations? Can you see our previous conversations? Cannot find the discussion we had about NFL player salaries. No. Explore all positional value effects, pay, quarterback versus running backs. No. In one of our many conversations, you provided me a chart of position average salaries how many players, if any, at each position might warrant an elite salary. That is one stands out their peers, that position, and the range of salaries below the elite. All right, let's see what he's got here. Guard, center, CV, safety, defensive tackles. 2 to 3. Okay, so I got to change my elite counts. And I got to change the ranges. Most are 8 to 12. Most are 6 to 10. Huh. All right. So this is kind of what I'm trying to use as my basis for my salaries. And so you got 8 to 10 QBs in the 50 plus tier, which is quite a bit, 50 to 60 million. But then it drops off, right? Because then you're like, tier steep drop after top 12. Average salary is 8.8. That's really a drop. If the average salary rings brings down your most starters 5 to 8 million. Backups near minimum. Only 1 to 2 running backs crack 15 million plus. Most starters are 5 to 8 million. Backups near minimum. Okay, so I'm typically using a drop off. I kind of go with, it seems like everybody gets a pretty steep drop though. I mean, you can have a wide receiver who's making 30 million, 5 to 6 of them, but then they drop down. So maybe it's more like 50% drop. Because you got 25 that drops to 18, that's about 75%. And then, 25% drop, I guess. Or 30, that's actually 33%, right? Because 18 is 7, something in that range. I think as I'm trying to come up with something a little bit more generic, so I could just do one. Having a per position drop off. I can see per position elite salaries being a thing, but so quarterbacks, we got maybe 12 guys. That's pretty good. That's more than a third of quarterbacks. It says 8 to 10. Oh, I see. It's 8 to 10 will get that significant range, and then after that it drops down whatever, but after 12 it could drop down significantly. That's kind of a tough one to do. I mean, it's kind of like, okay, so 8 to 10 are 50 to 60, and what it's saying is 12 might actually be, you might get up into the 40s, but then it drops down to like 20, so I get that. That's kind of a tough one though. That's how I'm going to get better salary ranges though out of my stuff. I've got to break down, because right now I was doing 10 per position, which actually eliminates a lot. Because if I say every position is only 10 and then I take 10 out, well, no, I don't take 10 out. I take out elite. If they are not elite, they can be drafted. But I mean, 1 to 14. Let's see what it says for defensive tackles. What does it say for defensive tackles? Because I got DTs here. Linebacker, defensive tackle. 8 to 12 million. That's actually not terribly far off. I mean, I got it 1 to 14 million. So it's actually I got some significant lows. So it sounds like they get a little bit more. But 31 might be a little high. The highest is 31. Oh, probably because that's the max I gave. And the top guy at every position gets to be a... Sorry, my back needs to be stretched. Ow. I kind of tweaked it the other day, and now it's being a little bit finicky about my sitting and letting my back curl while I'm sitting. I do that, I'll sit, and I just slowly kind of collapse. And then I realize, oh no, stretch it out, quick. Sometimes it's too late, though. Oops, nope, wrong thing. Gotta turn on my monitor here. Okay. So, average salary. Three to four elite offensive linebackers, 20 million plus. Most 8 to 12. Middle class shrinkage. Many positions have a handful of elites, then a big cluster of solid starter deals, and a steep drop to minimums. Roster construction. Teams typically afford 2 to 3 elite contracts, then fill the rest with mid-tier rookie scale deals. That's interesting. Roster construction. Teams typically afford 2 to 3 elite contracts. I was allowing 6. Which is going to leave a lot of elite players out of the league. But it'll allow me to fill my... it'll probably allow me easier to fill my rosters. With what I'll do, what I plan to do is introduce new players to leagues as they grow, as they progress. Like, I'll have free agents come in that are like is ready, wants to join the league, and everybody gets a shot at him. Or maybe it's a maybe that's when the contracts start coming in. These guys so and so wants to join the league, blah blah, and people look at him, oh, he's really good, and then everybody starts trying to negotiate a deal. And you have to, like, everybody has to offer him some kind of a deal, and then wait for his response. I'll have to do something like, he's gonna accept he's gonna review the first, he's gonna pick from the first 5 teams that offer him a deal, or he's taking all deals for consideration over the next 48 hours. Start doing stuff like that, and let people kind of fight it out over him. It's like, you got the salary to pay him. What I might actually do is, instead of making everybody fight for guys, leave that for contract renewals or waivers or cut players, that kind of thing. And then instead have a fixed salary, but everybody's on a waiver order based on their performance. So after certain games, or every so often during the season, I'll drop a few players out there and say, notify all the teams, and it just let them know that new players have hit the waiver wire. Go look. Like, I want that guy. And hopefully nobody else will take him, but somebody might, because the guy costs money, though. Two to 3 elite contracts. Huh. which means a lot of these elite DBs and nose tackles and all those guys probably won't get drafted. All right, let's go. Let's go control. Let's see. What did I say? 6. Whoops. Service test, context, background, forward. Max rounds. Okay, so we're going to go total players needed plus 5. Why would we have plus 5? Continue drafting until all positions are filled. But total players plus 5. Under what circumstance would we need more than 5 rounds? Can you explain line 375? If we only draft if every team drafts 1 player per round and we have 41 players required, why do we need a plus 5 round buffer? I try to see what AI is thinking. What exactly is going through your mind, AI? It's probably like, oh God, I don't know. Why did I say? Um, how could any team complete early? 1 player per round. Everyone gets done. We need the logic that prevents us from going to pick player, not hope for the best. AI does this a lot. It has this inbuilt tendency to feel like we need buffers and protections and all these, like, oh, if this is this and that is that, and it's like, if that's the case, that's an error. It's gonna, the system's broken. We need to fix the problem. We don't want to have a scenario where teams are getting skipped. I don't know. It just seems kind of weird. Any team fails to make a pick in a round, log the reason for the fail and abort at that point. Yeah, I don't want there should never be a reason why a team doesn't get picked, doesn't pick a player. I mean, I may have to adjust some stuff, like maybe my salary. I'm not going to change my salary cap, but my salary ranges per position, or how many elite rounds we're going to do. But we're not going to. I'm not going to do any kind of. All right, so we got round 6. I got to change this. I'm gonna do. I'm actually gonna create that as a control modifier. We're gonna go. I don't suppose control modifiers are a thing here. No. Player skill service has a function called get control modifier, which essentially pulls system variable values in the control modifiers collection. Can you move that function to the common settings.go file. And make it available to update the player's skill surface. Continue working as is by referencing function in the update the league service to be able to reference that function. Specifically, create wait a minute, is that already doing something like that? Let's see, because there was a thing here. Positions, max contacts. Because we got max, oh no, that was when salary was being created, which is not part of this. Okay, never mind. Then update the league service, be able to reference that function, specifically the create league processing. So I can set some of the values we are using as system variables. Adjusted. Oh, it just occurred to me that tomorrow's the end of this sprint. Did I get everything done for this sprint? I think I did, because it was all about skills, and I think I got all the skills done. I have some more skill editing to do, but all the skills are created and generating data and mostly working the way I want them to. There's a few data ranges. I mean, they function correctly, sort of, I guess. I guess it's depending on your point of view, but they are actually some of them have like weird ranges. I gotta figure that out. Let's see what's going on here. Let's try that. Need more natural light on my face there. I blasted me out, man. So anyway, trying to build functions with the help of AI is it's both a blessing and a curse. I prefer to, honestly, I prefer to edit code than to create it, only because sometimes there's just a lot of stuff. When I have to create a function that's pretty complex, I like it to just give me the complexity, and then as I go through it, I start to understand what it's doing, and then I rewrite parts of it if I need to. It's like, for example, this whole service here. This is the create teams. All it's doing is mainly creating teams. Look at all the crap it's drawn. So to an extent, it's a bit much. It's like I have this position fallback, but then it does some weird stuff with other positions, and I'm trying to figure out. There's some inconsistency there, so I got to try and tweak that. But that's, and that might be part of what's going on. I feel like if the first time we run through is the primary one, why do I need the other function? That's what I don't understand. So it's like, okay, if we already have, so if I have a requirement of players to get of teams to get a nose tackle, but if there's not a nose tackle available, we should be going out and looking at, left and right defensive tackles. And then if not, we go to look for defensive ends. I don't understand why it's failing. We have 30 some players, and it says it's having trouble hitting them. Maybe because of their cost. I don't know. But that's what I created this little salary review thing for, so that I can get a feel for what kind of ranges I've currently got. So I've only got one guy who's in the elite in the defensive tackle, and I got one guy who's in the elite for nose tackle. But nose tackles, like I said, not everybody, there's not that many of them. Look, there's only 9 nose tackles in my entire data set. So, um, let's see what is going on here. Okay, sorry about that. My parents were trying to set up some kind of a plan for this weekend, and availability of myself and my wife is not not there. Let's go. I'll be. I don't know why that's popping up. It doesn't return anything. All right, so we've got inside linebackers that range up to 7 million. Just linebackers in general up to 5. There are no elites, but I do have 10 elites. Outside linebackers tend to be the elite ones. Huh, interesting. Got 1 elite middle linebacker. So he's the 20 million. He's like the highest paid. Well, I guess no, these OLBs have a 21 also. So I got a couple of guys that are probably 99s, which I got to fix. I don't think any of my guys personally should be 99. That's just a flaw in my design. I mean, not any. Truthfully, one guy can be a 99 at some skills and stats, but overall, it should be rare. So yeah, I'm kind of unsure how I want that to be, how I want to read that. So really cranking away whatever I got going here. Oh yeah, I have it doing some kind of major overhaul. Scary. I don't really hate doing that. Really, it's not a major thing. I said I have one function called get control modifiers. And I know that it's a useful thing that I'm going to use it for basically all of my editing. It's basically the fetch function for all of my system variables, all of the variables that I'm going to set, which are all these things that you see in my get control modifiers. Oh no, that's get control modifier, but no, in this guy, skill control modifiers. Okay, so it's a lot of values that I'm using. In fact, I got to go through and kind of clean it up because it's not 100%. But you see, I have like these min-max salary ranges. You know, I'm pulling all these things for the rookie salaries. So if anything changes, I can adjust it and have things kind of either be rebuilt or whatever. I can kind of create the source data again. Now, the trick is I got to figure out how best to track some data without losing other data. Like if I have to rebuild the source players, I don't want to delete everybody's data, but you delete the source players and it adjusts everybody accordingly. But it shouldn't have necessarily. I may have to do something like do a rebuild that doesn't like delete the players. Like maybe it just goes through and recalculates their stats, and that's probably what I'll have to do. So this way it only changes this stuff. Because the way I have it planned for everybody is all these guys have a base salary, base whatever, skills, abilities, but it's always the same. It doesn't change. But when they're drafted, put on teams, whatever, they're going to slowly, that'll change as the seasons progress. So they'll get better thises and better thatses or worses and back and forth. So there'll be a number of things that have to kind of balance out over time. So it's kind of a way to adjust and edit all these values in advance and make sure that everybody gets them. But I have a lot of things here that I may not even be using. A lot of these are carryovers from the modifiers I had created in my board game system. And I made some really complex functions. And I think some of them were like, they were designed to give me the values I needed right there in the space rather than creating layers. And layers are so much easier. Get your base stat, then build the various needed parts from that off of simple scales. So you get everybody rated in a scale. Like if you need them all to fit within A to Z, then you scale them on A to Z. Well, A to Z would be everything, but I mean, say you want them to fit within a C to O, and you want to squish everybody in there, so it recalculates their values essentially and puts them inside of that range where the max is O and the min is C, and everybody else just fits. Or if it's the other way around, it'll recalculate everybody to go bigger. Like you might, if you have C to O and you want to go A to Z, everybody gets scaled out. So that's kind of the premise behind it. So, but what has to happen is every player is going to, you know what? I got to check my scale function. There might be a problem with my scale function now that I think about it. Oh no, it's fine. Never mind. I was just thinking how it was written. I was thinking it wasn't considering. One of the things it has to be, every player you put in has to fit within the scale range, the base scale range. You can't say it's going to be C to O and then put in a B. That guy will screw everything up. And so what the code is doing is like if you put in a B in a C to O range, it's going to make that B into a C so that everybody fits. But I actually created dynamic scales where if you put in anybody who doesn't fit, then the scale widens itself to fit that person. So instead of checking that first, the scale gets bigger, and then it goes, oh, this guy fits. He's just at the bottom or the top, whatever it is. Okay, so for now, I'm going to stop. I have to run off for a minute. And I will be back a bit later while I continue to figure out this function. So I would probably think 20 minutes. See you then.